thousands, millions of followers every day. And she still hasn't said anything. Just pretending like life is great in Paris.
Is it her place to say so?
I mean, probably not, considering she's gonna be indicted for anything she would say. These are criminals. Diddy is a drug dealer, and so is Jay Z. The proof is...
Prosecutors are reportedly planning to name some of Diddy's colleagues in court, which is why Beyoncé may be delaying her tour and escaping to another nation with Jay Z. It is said that B and J are at the top of that list. Initially, it was thought that Jay was the one having an affair with Diddy, and that Beyoncé was involved. However, it has since been revealed that she was not above the stupidity and is now terrified that they will be the next to fall if they do not leave the country immediately. Jay and Beyoncé were friends with Diddy prior to this scandal, as most of you know, but they secretly ended their friendship once Diddy was charged. Immediately prior to his incarceration, Diddy revealed that only his mother, Janice Combs, and Beyoncé were allowed to call him Sean. Beyoncé was apparently planning to get as much money as she could before divorcing Jay. Now that she and Jay are being singled out with him, they plan to do what Russell Simmons did and escape together to a nation that has no U.S. treaties. Jay Z Diddy's website included numerous photos of Jay and Beyoncé, who were frequently invited to their yearly Roc Nation brunch. There hasn't been another Roc Nation brunch since they fired Diddy like a hot potato when Cassie filed the lawsuit. Even still, many kept researching the two on their own and making connections. Not too long ago, the infant told a story about how he visited Beyoncé and Jay at Diddy's house for a secret meeting that turned into what many people believe to be a freak-off.
Diddy crib in LA. This was the beginning of 2020. You know what I mean? Diddy had put everybody else out the crib, like the influx of people he had put them out. But he had took a liking to me in particular around the time, man. It was really, you know what I mean, like putting his arm around me.
Right.
So he had put majority of the people out, but he allowed me to stay in there. Mm-hmm. Me and, you know, maybe about 15 others, you know.
Right.
Jay Z and Beyoncé being, you know, two of the other 15 people in the room. So that'll just put it into perspective of the type of company I was in at the moment, you know. And she came over and introduced herself to me like as if she had to. This is Beyoncé, cut it out. But I'm a big fan of your work, you know what I'm saying? Whoop de whoop, and that was just dope.
Children are a total disaster. Jay and Diddy were close collaborators, so when he was apprehended, people called for his imprisonment as well, because it was impossible that he was not aware of or complicit in the freakouts. First of all, you will wonder if Jay is just another Diddy because of the similar charges made against him. He received harsh criticism a few years ago after it was discovered that he had forced Foxy Brown, who was just 15 at the time, into a relationship with him in exchange for a Hollywood career.
A romantical thing, it's all right, I'll say alleged, but we know. Yeah, she hit it before Beyoncé.
Witnesses witnessing the entire episode indicated that Jay paid Foxy a lot of money to keep this hidden. Dame Dash, Jay's longtime friend and former business partner, eventually confirmed it. When asked about Jay and Foxy's romance, Dash became very defensive. He didn't specifically say that Jay had an affair with Foxy, who is 15, but he also didn't say that he didn't.
At what age was Foxy Brown signed?
I wasn't paying attention to Foxy Brown.
But that's...
I didn't sign Foxy Brown.
I know you did. I'm just asking a question.
I'm on the block. I'm responsible for everybody.
You the boss.
Yo, don't beat around the bush. Say what you want
I'm
to say.
just asking.
What do you mean by that question?
I was just asking.
What are you insinuating?
I'm not insinuating. I just asked the question. I thought Foxy was like 16. That's all I'm saying.
It sounds like you...
All I'm saying is in this industry, when we live in these glass houses...
It seems like you got a question for Jay. Ask him. Y'all keep asking me questions y'all want to ask him, because he ain't here. Ask him.
Many people were unable to ignore the similarities between Diddy's and Jay's treatment of the ladies in their lives. They claimed it was a lot like what Diddy did to Cassie, whom he courted when she was barely 19 and promised her a Hollywood future, only to ruin her life. However, Baby Dame wasn't finished exposing Jay Z. He continued by disclosing other information regarding Jay's intense fixation with young ladies. Even after R. Kelly was caught for lying about Aaliyah's age and marrying her when she was just 15 years old, he said he stopped hanging out with Jay when he understood that Jay had no intention of separating from R. Kelly, that he would get rid of Jay, but he didn't. The Best of Both Worlds is an album that H and R. Kelly worked on together, and they even went on tour together, After R. Kelly ended their relationship, Dame disclosed that Jay wanted to date Aaliyah. R. Kelly had already gotten her when she was 15, so it appeared that they had wagered on whether he would be able to sleep with her. She turned down Jay's invitations to parties and flowers due to her preference for a connection over a romantic one.
As well, and I didn't know. He was sending flowers and he was courting her.
Because the rumor originally was that you were connected to Jay. Exactly. Jay and I were hanging out a lot. He's my homie. We have a lot of fun together.
J.R. Kelly and Diddy were suspected of orchestrating Aaliyah's death as a sacrificial killing after Jay's bizarre relationship with Foxy and his unsuccessful attempt at a romance with her. Aaliyah was given a sedative against her will and was thrown into the plane after she passed out, which is odd because she never intended to board it. Many stories at the time said that Beyoncé's family opposed the connection, but at that point, he had already gotten her, and they were powerless to stop it. Jay disclosed that he first saw Beyoncé when she was 16, but didn't pursue her till she was 18 in a 2007 interview with Charlie Rose. He was simply attempting to establish himself in the profession and was just as young as Foxy and Aaliyah. Before meeting Jay, Beyoncé had little prior dating experience and only had one boyfriend in high school. Jay exploited her lack of social life as a youngster because she was focused on her work from an early age, making her essentially ignorant in many ways.
I feel like she never got to experience life with the different types of people, and the fact that he was so old, low-key, I feel like the only way she expresses herself is through her music. And I don't know them, obviously, but I'm just saying, just like by seeing the age gap and what happens between that age gap, she never got to live outside.
Beyoncé's former bodyguard, Uncle Ron, recently came clean about Jay Z's role in helping her develop a drug addiction so he could control her, which only made the situation worse.
I say, man, yeah, Beyonce's on. She been on for.
According to a source, Beyoncé has been searching for a way to leave Jay ever since this whole scenario started and has even thought about taking her own life. It doesn't seem like she's doing well either. Cassie claims that Diddy gave her narcotics and alcohol, including K and XY, which caused her to acquire severe addictions that took over her life. This is a lot like what Diddy did to Cassie. She is done with the bosses who make all of her decisions, the control and the pressure, because she is unsure if she can handle the disgrace that will follow. They are correct to be afraid that she will go without warning, the insider said. The singer reflects while feeling down. She is a threat to herself, but because they have been managing her for years, her employees are more concerned about losing their source of income. The extent of Beyoncé and Jay's involvement in this is unknown, but people are not giving up on them and are calling for their arrest, or at the absolute least, the seizure of their passports before they depart the country. She's on the point of rebelling because she's tired of her mother's control and her husband's influence, according to one person who voiced their opinions as usual. I never cared for Beyoncé. Even with Destiny's Child, I was more into Aaliyah. But when Aaliyah died and Beyoncé was pushed to the top of the label overnight, I knew there was something wrong. After they raided his homes, everyone kept saying Diddy wasn't going to jail, said another person. He did, in fact, go to jail, and everyone involved in Diddy's horrible deeds will get charged as well. So it's only a question of time, but I'd like to know your thoughts on Beyoncé and Jay being singled out to be the next to fall, and whether you believe they're genuinely preparing to flee the nation. Remember to watch this other dirty video by clicking here.